Coach Gundy with us now as we get ready for the homecoming matchup against the Baylor Bears. Let's start, just kind of go back to the off week. This team is young. This team has limited depth at certain positions. How much do you think the off week could really help this specific team?
We have a number of players that are playing considerable snaps for their first season, and we've been at it for 9 weeks. So as much as a mental break as physical was important. And then we had 2 really good practices last week, and then back to a normal schedule this week. And it gives us a chance to get a break and get some quality work on fundamentals in all 3 phases. And then we get into the game plan for Baylor starting on Tuesday.
You know, it's interesting how the schedule sets up. You'll have another off week in 3 weeks, then you'll go 3 more weeks after that. So I guess it's safe to say to some extent that long stretch is over, which again could probably help this team to a large extent, the way it sets up moving forward.
I hope so. Hopefully we can get on a roll and start playing really good and take care of the football and all the discipline styles that we need to take care of. Hopefully we'll play better this week. I know the players are excited about getting out there. We need a full week of work. And it'll be unusual, to have an open week and then just have another one right by it. But that's the hand that we're dealt. So I think the players are excited about getting back out there. And we just need to be a disciplined team. We need to take care of the football and limit big plays on defense, and that'll help us in the long run.
And it's interesting, too, typically in recent years after the first off week, which is usually in October, maybe late September, you've played pretty well. Any reason why you think that's the case?
Oh, I don't know. As I watch college football today and even us over the years, if our quarterback plays pretty sound, doesn't turn the ball over, you got a chance to win pretty much every game in this league. And I think that for whatever reason that's happened, and I think Spencer will play well. When you go back and look at what he did at Tech, if he just takes care of the ball in the pocket, that's half the battle for him. Because one interception he threw he got hit on, and the other one was tipped. So for the most part, let's take care of the football, and that gives him a chance to play better and then puts our team in a position to win the game.
Speaking of good quarterback play, your opponent this week, Baylor, comes to town undefeated, and one of the major reasons why they're undefeated, obviously, is their quarterback, Charlie Brewer. What do you see with him that helps him be successful?
His transition now in his 3rd year, he's been in, probably 20 games or something at least over his career now, is a lot like Ellinger in that he's making better decisions now. He's experienced. He makes plays. He's a good player. We'll have our hands full with him. He's had a lot of success, and he started making that transition at the latter part of last year. At the end of our game last year, he played good. And then as I watched him, and then this year he's kept going, and he's playing good. So they're getting good quarterback play. And defensively, they're very mature. 7 or 8 seniors, a couple juniors, whatever that may be, and they're running around making some tackles. So they've got experience. The quarterback's playing good, and I think they do a good job of coaching. Obviously, they're coaching well. It's not easy to get to 6-0. I don't care how you get there. So obviously, they're doing something right.
Scheme-wise, defensively, though, a bit different than last year. They've kind of joined everybody else in the 3-man front parade.
They're 3-man front. They're playing 2 behind it, 4, 3, playing a little bit of 1 and blitzing some. But they've joined the 3-down party, and that's what they've done, and they've had success with it this year.
Stay with us. The Showdown Breakdown with Brandon Weeden is up next.
Josiah, how you doing?
Dominique.
Nadia.
What if I go into labor in your car?
Why do I keep self-sabotaging myself?
Parts of science can be kind of confusing.
Really?
Thank you, honey.
So Joe's on the beatbox.
You haven't asked for my advice, but I'll just offer it.
You were so great. 4 stars, okay?
ADM milling is really a part of the fabric of the Enid community. So if we were to have lost them, it would have been more than the 70 jobs that they employ.
OG&E, the City of Enid, and the Enid Regional Development Alliance were all great to work with. Not only does it allow for the growth of the new mill, but also the power is there to make that happen for the future.
Time now for the Showdown breakdown with former Cowboy quarterback and former NFL quarterback Brandon Weeden. So let's just stay on the topic of quarterbacks. It was a tough game for Spencer Sanders last time out for Oklahoma State. OSU's quarterback, he had 5 turnovers. So now you've had an off week. How can the off week really benefit Spencer Sanders coming off a tough game like that?
Yeah, I think it's a big self-scout week for him in particular. You go back and you look at the plays that were negative. Obviously, the turnovers are the main concern. But I think you got to look at the good plays too, because there's a lot of good plays mixed in these first 6 games. And I think he's a young player, obviously, so he's going to make some mistakes. But you hope these last 6 games he finds a way to clean those up a little bit. The mistakes he made early on, eliminate those. Do the things you got to do to get your best players involved, but find a way to limit those little mistakes.
Oklahoma State as a team is one of the youngest teams in college football, and at certain positions such as tailback and safety, they don't have a lot of depth. Can an off week benefit a young team like Oklahoma State more than an experienced team, or how much does that matter?
I think it's a big help for any football team, in my opinion. Especially it came at a perfect time. You had a bad loss. Obviously, you want to go play as soon as you can, but you're getting healthy. Mentally, you can kind of recharge. You can get away from the building a little bit, enjoy some downtime. But now's the time to come back with your hair on fire. This is a big push going into the last part of the year, and you're playing some pretty good football teams. So it starts Saturday against Baylor, and they need to come out, set the tone early and often. Hit them in the mouth over and over and over, and like I said, set the tone for the last half of the season.
And it's a very hot Baylor team that'll be coming to Stillwater, 6-0, ranked 18th in the country. They've won a lot of close games the last 2 years. We'll get into that in a moment. But defensively, they've been very good. They're only giving up 17 points per game. Their numbers are good. What do you see?
They're solid. When I think Baylor, I don't think great defense, but they're one of the better defenses in the Big 12. Their turnover margin is like second in the Big 12. They're doing a really good job of taking the ball away, and Charlie Brewer and that offense is doing a pretty good job of holding on to the football. But defensively, obviously they lost their best player. That's going to be a big hole for them to fill. Johnson in the middle of that thing, he was kind of the signal caller. He made things go, did all the communication, got those guys lined up, played extremely hard. So that's a big gap to fill. But overall, they play hard. They're a veteran group. They got a good front. It's going to be a big test for this offensive line. I think that, in my opinion, they're probably the best front they're going to face, or they have faced so far this year. So, again, when I think Baylor, I think offense. But this is a pretty good defense that the Cowboys are going to face this Saturday.
You referenced Charlie Brewer, their quarterback, and what's interesting, you look back at the last year for Baylor. Last year, they reached the Texas Bowl, became bowl eligible after winning only 1 game 2 years ago. They won a lot of close games, and last Saturday against Texas Tech was another example. They're backed up to their own 1-yard line, down 3 with about a minute and a half to go, and what do you know? They go down, get a game-tying field goal, and win the game in double overtime. That's happened several times with Charlie Brewer leading those touchdown drives. What do you see in him? I mean, what does it say about a quarterback when that can happen multiple times over a single season?
I've been very impressed with him. Dating back to last year at times. I mean, he's mobile. He throws the ball extremely well. He's got great pocket presence. That's the one thing that really kind of stood out on tape is he stands in there and he's not afraid to take a hit and deliver a nice throw. But he's a really good player. Last week's a perfect example. You turn it over 3 times. You're not having your best day. But to put all that behind you, go out and lead a drive like that to go win a football game, against a team that's playing pretty good right now. Texas Tech's playing relatively well. So I think he kind of is what makes them go. He's a good football player. If he takes care of the ball like he has the first 5 games, that's a pretty good offense. So in my opinion, on the flip side, I think Oklahoma State's got to find a way to create a couple turnovers.
In fact, Brewer had not thrown an interception in the first 5 games before he threw the 3 that Brandon referenced against Texas Tech. Final thought. We don't want to get carried away with this, but for Oklahoma State, is it time to make a statement in terms of, okay, what you saw at Texas Tech is not our team? Is that a real thing or no?
Yeah, bumps in the road are going to happen. You're going to lose games, unfortunately, at times. But now's the time, like you said, make a statement. Come out from the first snap and just hit these guys in the mouth over and over and over on both sides of the ball. Do the same thing in special teams. You got the crowd, obviously, here at home that's going to be ready to go. It's homecoming. We do such a great job here at Oklahoma State. But from the first snap, it just needs to set a tone to say, hey, look, this bye week came at the right time. Going forward these last 6 games, we're all in, and you're going to see it from the first snap.
The Cowboys do have a schedule advantage down the stretch as Oklahoma State plays 4 of its last 6 at home, starting on Saturday with Baylor at Boone Pickens Stadium at 3. That's the Showdown Breakdown. Thanks for watching.